the Asia Link podcast. We are in the process of recording the episode on religion and spirituality. We just had some technical difficulties, so this is going to be part two. I have Dr. VJ and Animesh with me, and we're going to pick up where we left off. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the next question. Um, Now let's talk about the intersection of religion and society. India is a country where religion and politics often intertwine. What do you think about this dynamic and how does it shape the nation's social fabric?
Hmm. Among the youth, especially with the evolution of technology, the spiritualities is evolving. I don't feel it as a good thing, by the way, right? Because you don't need a mobile phone which you keep in your pocket or which you keep over your desk to help you understand the spiritualities and help you do your day-to-day life in that. So the people are now putting in the time schedule reminder to do the meditation and to do that set of prayer, right? I don't feel it as a good. Spirituality is something which comes from your inner soul, not from something which is kept in your pocket, right? So this generation Z in India, they are like means becoming like kind of a materialism, and they're growing that way and putting in the spiritualities in a digital means ways by sharing their means religious belief on social media. And on another hand, if you ask me like how digital or how the technologies is changing the spiritualities in India, so yeah, means it is changing in many ways. So suppose if I could not get a chance to visit that place, so it is always recommended to go and visit that place to do worship or have a look of that particular art temple, and also means that worship, right? But you could still see the live means arti, if that we say, through the means because of this because of this digital things, and in our digital era on our TV, on our mobile phone, through the apps, right? But this shift may blend traditions, and though I feel it risk diluting the traditional values. And yes, that's happening, and I'm totally not in favor of inclusion of the technologies everywhere. Instead of what's or wherever it is required, like finding up the people, or means managing the crowd. Instead of this, means the people are moreover going into like clicking the photographs, and they are just doing the worship of the god to show this to the world, instead of not being in spiritualities within from their inner soul. Yeah, Vijay.
So, what I'm observing is a pattern where people. So for example, let's say there's a mantra that you're supposed to chant quietly in seclusion. Now, what people are doing, it's hilarious. They would open up YouTube and they would play the recording of the mantra and put their headphones on. And so that's completely defeating the purpose of it. And also, like, there's something called bhajan where you sing praises to the deity. So the person, the individual, is supposed to do it. But now people just play the recorded music and listen to it. And people are getting spiritually lazy, right? So like you're supposed to do the meditation yourself. But now, if you go on YouTube, you have people who would say that they would activate your kundalini, right? Your chakras. They would activate your chakras online, which is hilarious. I even find courses talking about activating the chakras in a week for a few $1,000. Uh, where if you go to any spiritual master, they say it takes years of meditation, years of yoga, years of spiritual practice to to achieve those things. And people are selling like stupid courses online. They say you buy this course, we just tell you a bunch of things to do. You do those things and done. That's it. Boom. Your chakras are open. Now, what happens is a person who's genuinely wanting to do this, they end up with some of these courses. They see this is a fraud. They end up thinking the whole thing is a fraud. But the courses and the people behind this is a fraud, but not the actual thing itself. And also, there are places that are purposefully built just to do the meditation. And also, depending on which level you are, there are specific places for people. And people are supposed to go there and do the meditation. But now, with the advent of technology, everybody's taking their phone with them and they're doing live streaming from there and showing people they're going there, and people have made it into a picnic spot, and you have these massive hotels being built in those places. That is completely destroying the serenity of that place. It's no longer that. So, for example, if there's a natural cave where people used to meditate for thousands of years, you go into that cave, you will have that, you will feel that energy over there. But people have built some store or some hotel just close to it, and now they have ruined it. There are places where you have a stream of water, right, running in the cave. And now you have a hotel that's being built on top of the hill. Now the stream is screwed, and the cave is gone now. So this, like for the sake of GDP or for the sake of development, a lot of these places are getting a huge hit now. And this is very sad because you can build that hotel anywhere. You can build a restaurant, you can build your anywhere else. But that cave, which is, I guess, millions of years old, you can't make that cave again if you're going to break that cave. Or that stream of water that has been for millions of years. And now what you do, you have destroyed it. You can't bring it back. Or the glacier. So Indian spirituality is also very tied to natural places, and they're more important than the buildings. For example, there's a temple in northeast India called Kamakya. There, the deity is the stream of water. It's not an idol. The temple structure, the idol, everything else is secondary. That the small stream of water underground the temple is the deity. That is the holy place. That's the sanctified place. So people want to build a bunch of hotels on the top, but that will ruin the stream. So right now you have environmental activists and people who are spiritually inclined. They're joining hands because now they both see the importance of the forest, of or streams of water, and and even I see that those ancient people had a lot of wisdom in them, even though they might not understand science that we understand today. They had this immense wisdom within them, that they respected the nature and they considered nature itself as divine, um, and preserving and protecting particular trees, particular animals, as very important and non-negotiable, that they would never touch those things. And now, because of materialism, if anything is illegal, you can cut it down, you can chop it out down. People are not thinking twice. Companies or industries, they're not thinking twice. They want to build a hotel up the hill. They don't care what happens downstream. If they get the permission from the government, it's done. The hill is gone. The forest is gone. So I think we need to realize that these places these natural places where we can have the spiritual experience, even if somebody does is not spiritual. I mean, the fact that you feel so good when you go to a forest, you breathe the air, you sit down, the sounds of birds and wind hitting the leaves, that itself is therapeutic. Your depression will go away, your anxiety will go away, even if it is for a few moments. So these places are very very important for us, for as human beings, even if you're not spiritual. And I guess that uh, if more and more people become spiritual, then we might even end up fixing a lot of problems like global warming, deforestation, species going extinct every day, and biodiversity and all these things. Because both of these are any religion that is deeply spiritual, right, often talks about preserving nature, often talks about preserving the forests, the animals, the rivers, because they have this deep wisdom, and they realize that this is very important for us to exist. Like, we need the trees don't need us. So the day we all get it is the day we don't even need laws to protect these things.
Such important perspectives. Religion and politics can definitely shape national identity in profound ways. Finally, to close things out, what do you believe the future holds for religion and spirituality in India? Will we be seeing a blend of traditions or a shift towards more secular ideals?
Um, See, India is like shifting towards more over like secular ideas. Most of the people here, and India was a secular country uh, 200 years ago, 75 years ago as well, right? So now we are even shifting more over towards that. And not just that, like, means there are some of the cons. And I feel bad, like looking at it sometimes, like how the histories of India and how the Hinduism histories are being destroyed and being neglected as well. With some of the secular ideology people in India, they are now like accepting the thoughts from the Western society, as they believe our avatar Sri Ram and Sri Krishna as one of the 124,000 prophet, which is totally not true. The both of these religions are totally different in nature, in worshipping, and in everything, right? Second thing I have heard about Vaishnav Catholic Church. Again, this is hilarious. Means the both of these two things are different. I would leave Vijay to talk more about that. Further on going to that, means not just Hinduism, even Christianity has completely changed in India. When it comes to India, it has changed. Like they have also adopted the Hindu's tradition alongside with the Catholic and Christianity's traditions in the church, right? If you come to this part, you would see, you would find it hilarious, by the way, like how secularism is actually means being induced uh, purposefully just to show the coexistence, which I sometimes feel bad. And that's how like some of the major churches are born in India, or by Indians diaspora abroad, like Flying Spaghetti Monster Church. Right. So anyway, I would leave Vijay to talk about like some of those changes in Hindu's tradition over time, with the inclusion of secularism thoughts in the people.
Yeah. So India being a very old country, right? It went through multiple cycles of religion being you know new ideas popping into it, and old ideas being revisited, and two religions mixing to become one religion. Like Sikhism is a very good example. In Sikhism, you have all the ideas of monotheism, polytheism, atheism, all the ideas being discussed in their books. Because Sikhism is pretty like it's like 400, 500 years old. So by this time, all religions were there in India, and the Sikh Empire. The people in Sikh Empire, the kings of Sikh Empire, the gurus, they were actually very interested in learning the foreign cultures. They used to bring people from France and Germany, and they used to have the schools where they were teaching Spanish, French, and English to the citizens of their kingdom. And a lot of fusion of cultures happened. And India is a land of debate, right? So whenever anybody brings up a new idea, whether it's political, whether it's philosophical, whether it's theological, it's debated. It's debated heavily, it's debated hugely. And the debate goes on, right? So the debate between Buddhism and Hinduism, between Jainism, Buddhism, and Hinduism. So there's an ancient school of atheism called the Charvaks, right? 100% material atheists. So you can find these debates between Charvaks and Buddhists, and then between Buddhists and Charvaks. So so what happens in India is it's a continuous process, and it has happened multiple times where religions mixed, and new branches parted out, and and then mixed back again, just like how Zoroastrianism borrowed ideas from the Vedic religion, and then how Judaism, Christianity borrowed ideas from Zoroastrianism, and those ideas come back and they combine with Hinduism, and Sikhism is born. Uh, so 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 that's how classically people saw, and that's why when the Europeans came, they couldn't understand. It was so chaotic for them to understand. So they started keeping people in boxes, right? And I think that act even negatively impacted the country as a whole. Uh, Things were fluid. You had Islamic rulers who translated the Hindu scriptures into Persian and into Arabic. They got translated then uh, into European languages, and they reached Europe. Even our mathematics got translated into Persian and Arabic, and that's how the Renaissance in Europe happened. When you had the people in Caliphate translating these works into Persian and Arabic, and then they got translated into Greek and Latin, and then they got discovered over there, like stuff like rhinoplasty, stuff like algebra, astrophysics. Uh, even we had our own laws of motion before Newton. We had our own theory of gravity, uh, completely separate from Newton. So these are the things, right? These are the things that impacted the world. Like we would take things for granted, but and very well known example is zero, right? Uh, where and also pi. So things were fluid. People were exchanging ideas, debating each other, right? Religion wasn't extremely sensitive, or people needn't necessarily be politically correct at that time. People had these debates, right? And people used to debate each other's religious idea very, very rigorously, and had no problem debating. But also, the postmodern or modern left liberal ideas of political correctness, and their view of social justice, which have seeped into the country now, they are causing more problem than solving the problems. Because India has always been the land of debates, and even if the person losing debate wouldn't need necessarily change his idea, and would agree to disagree. That is why you still have Buddhism and Jainism still existing today, even though traditionally, if you look at historical records, they actually lost in a lot of the debates, and even the kings used to give patronage to multiple religions even before there were kings and kingdoms, and it was all mixed. It wasn't one monotonous way or one religion versus the other religion, which usually the left would love to portray, because they hate heterodoxy. They want everything to be homogeneous, which actually is not true. And technology is positively impacting this part, where because of internet now you can people can connect with each other. Earlier, if a Hindu wanted to read the Bible, right, they had to go to a store and buy the Bible, and maybe they would hesitate to do that because now a bunch of people know you're reading it. Or if a Christian wanted to read the Bhagavad Gita, they had to go and physically buy it, and maybe their church people would not like it, so they would not even read it. Now you have internet, and a lot of uncomfortable things, especially like if somebody's coming from a extremely religious background of one particular religion, uh, they would still have the chance to know about other religions and other ideas online. They needn't even expose themselves, and cause themselves trouble in their family or in their own religious community. So a lot of exchange of ideas are now happening online, and people who are not comfortable showing their identity, they're doing it on YouTube live streams. You can have a different name, you didn't show your face. People are doing it on Clubhouse. So actually humanity is getting reconnected and crossing the barriers of geography, of countries, of languages, often, and also of religions and different faiths. And actually, this is actually really good. What used to happen 800 years ago, 1,000 years ago, has restarted in India. And moving forward, I actually see a pretty bright future where the understanding of the common public, and how they view religion, would actually improve. And I just hope that the originality of religions or spirituality, of the original spiritual ideas, they don't lose their originality, even if people want to bring them into the modern context. They just don't do lame stuff like online yoga, and they actually do the actual yoga, because I mean people have been doing it in that way and it worked. And really, we didn't make everything modern just for the sake of making it modern. I mean, religions always adapt. And one good thing is that people are now realizing that their own religion was never a piece of rock. It's like a river that flows. It changes with time. It adapts. Any religion that survives for long does adapt, and that is the reality, which I would say religious apologists would not like to accept or agree with. But the younger generation is saying that yes, their own religion or any other religion also adapts with time, and that's how it survives. And if it stays concrete, if it doesn't move at all, it doesn't survive. People actually leave it, because times change, our circumstances, surroundings, everything keeps on changing. So a lot of good things are happening with modernization, and I hope that the younger generation, and the coming generations are wise enough to know what things they can do and what things would be like really stupid, and just for the sake of modernization they shouldn't just do it. This is what I want to say regarding this.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you both for your enlightening conversation. Religion and spirituality are central to understanding India, and your insights have been giving us all a deeper appreciation of these influences in the daily lives of people from India. To our listeners, thank you for joining us on the journey through the spiritual landscape of India. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring. Thank you both of you for joining today.
Thank you, Mitch.